Hello there. My name is Margot Finke, and I'm here today to talk to you about the art of the personal narrative. I'm the author of 16 books for children, grade school through mid-grade. I grew up down under in Australia, but I now live in Oregon, USA. I have Skyped in schools all over the world as well as the USA, and I love hooking kids on reading and teaching them to write stories of their own. I also run a manuscript critique service. So let's get to it. I've made some notes here so I don't forget all the good stuff that I should be telling you. We'll start with personal narrative information. A personal narrative is something that happened to you or that you experienced or you saw, and you're going to write about it because you think it's worth reading and knowing about. Okay? Now, the basic rules of writing do apply. They're the same for whatever age or genre you dive into, and it pays to know your readership. If you're a beginner, stick with the rules. If you're an advanced writer, you can break the rules, but if you do, make sure you do it brilliantly. Okay? Now, powerful words create powerful sentences, paragraphs, and stories. But where do all these powerful words hang out? Your thesaurus, of course. So, make your thesaurus your go-to place to find powerful and evocative words to use in your stories. Okay? Write as tight as your granny's new girdle, especially when you're doing a personal narrative. Don't waffle on. If a paragraph doesn't move your story forward, be ruthless. Cut it. Short, punchy sentences create better tension and faster pace than long, rambling ones. Focus. Good focus is important, so focus on what's important to your characters. Master the basics. Grammar and punctuation do count. Read lots of books or stories in the genre you're writing. In this case, stories that deal with personal narrative. Form a small critique group among your friends or fellow writers and share your writing and offer each other help, support, comments, and ways to tighten and strengthen each other's writing. LinkedIn and Google Plus writing groups are where you can find critique groups, plus writing, publishing, and promotional help and advice. The internet is a gold mine, ready to be plundered by writers of all genres. Now, let's start at the beginning. The beginning, that's very important, because a lot of people and editors, if they don't like your beginning or it doesn't grab their interest, they don't read any further. So begin with a bang. Make it something that hooks reader interest. Make sure there is action, realistic dialogue, and try for a hint of mystery or even suspense. The right words, strung together in the right way, create a hint of spice to even the most ordinary events. Another important thing to remember, not only with personal writing like this, but in anything you write, is avoid all those overused words. One of the most overused words is seemed. Only use it when you want to create an image of doubt. Now, Harry's presence seemed to dominate the camp. But a better way of saying it is Harry's presence dominated the camp. Fewer words and it's more powerful. Was signals a possible weak sentence that can be punched up with a stronger verb. His only fear was being cowardly. That's all right, but a better and stronger way of saying it is he feared being a coward. Note, adverbs are all right, but not all the time. Don't use too many of them. You're not J.K. Rowling's. She never saw an adverb that she didn't love. That's my opinion anyway. Oh dear. Very. This is where you put your thesaurus to work. Very is such an overused word, and there are either you can cut it altogether probably, or find another one by using your thesaurus. Just, a word we often overuse. Try some of the synonyms like merely or only. Again, your thesaurus will help. A verb that is preceded by was and ends in ing, ing, is not as strong as its alternative. Here's a couple of samples. He was trying to break down the door. A stronger, more powerful sentence would be, he tried to break down the door. Or even he broke down the door. Passive voice. This is something that a lot of new writers struggle with. Various methods of torture developed by his ancestors were contemplated by Harrison. Now that's passive voice. But active voice is better. And here's a sample. Harrison contemplated various methods of torture developed by his ancestors. Now here's a classic, the word down. If the verb implies down is unnecessary. She sat down in the chair. So, cut the down. She sat in the chair. You don't need down. And the same with up. In the same context, up is unnecessary. And my all-time favourite, ugly, overused little word is got, G-O-T. And there are so many wonderful, interesting alternatives you can use instead of got. Again, go to your thesaurus. That's your go-to place for powerful, evocative words that you can use. Okay? Find and replace on your computer is the best way to do this. When you want to change a specific word throughout your story, whether it's personal narrative or a novel or a detective fiction, whatever, use that in conjunction with your thesaurus to get the best results. Okay? Now, here's an interesting thing that you need to know about in and out scene building. Keep things moving. Regardless of what type of manuscript you're writing, scenes that drag are the kiss of death. Dull scenes are often the result of elaborate setups and wind downs, extra commentary before or after the critical event. Successful authors and screenwriters quote the mantra, in late, out early. This simply means they open their scenes as late into the action as possible and then close their scenes as early as possible, often before the action has even finished. If you have a scene that seems to drag, try trimming from the middle instead of either the beginning or the end. Oh, wait a minute, try trimming from the beginning and the ending rather than the middle. Sorry about that. Trim from the beginning and the ending rather than the middle where all the action is. Okay? Now, information weaving. Dole out information in bite-sized chunks. Once you've organised the specifics of your story, there's often an overwhelming urge to use every morsel you've collected. Be careful. Long descriptions can turn off readers and editors alike. Remember, we read stories to find out what happens to the characters. If you want to read a 5-page description of New Delhi, buy a travel guide. Whenever possible, intersperse your factual descriptions with actions and dialogue. Have your characters interacting with your descriptions. Create action scenes that allow readers to see, smell, and taste the specifics. Treat information as gems to scatter judiciously. Dropping great lumps of background information on a page is a definite no-no, commonly referred to as an information dump. Now we get to the part I love. This is what makes me love writing words. You have to love words, finding the right ones and using them in the right way. And for writers, instead of using oil paints and pencils and watercolours, writers use words that weave fantastic stories. Memorable books are filled with words that paint scenes in the reader's minds, words that capture interest and they lure the reader on, keep them reading. That's what you want to do. Get them right to the end. A wonderful personal narrative must be short and sweet. It needs to focus on the main theme, create word pictures in the mind that linger and end in a satisfying way. And finally, we come to what a lot of people don't like, revision. A lot of writers don't like revision, but this makes or breaks your story. A well-revised story is the one that will become published and become read. So rework, fine-tune, and polish your manuscript with great care. Have other readers read it and offer criticism. Have you added more zip and better focus to those dull scenes? Have you seasoned the stew? Now, I'll send a copy of this short video chat to Janelle. Included below will be links for helpful personal narrative sample, as well as a twist on narrative writing. Links to both of those that you can go to and read further information. And I'll also attach an email with some helpful narrative writing guidance and my personal memories of Christmas Down Under. As another example, I'm sure Janelle will print them out for you. Okay, so that's the end of my chat, and then I'll be back a few days later with an actual live Skype visit, and you can ask questions, and hopefully I can give you answers that are helpful and useful to you. So thank you very much for your time, and this is Margot Finke signing off on how to write a personal narrative. Bye.